Pleasant good morning. It's the 18th day of May 2018. My name is Augustine KOLLIE. This is NewsNet, a production of the News and Current Affairs Department at OK Communications Incorporated. This newscast is relayed on the voice of Hope in Pleasant, Maryland County. Stories top on the news this morning. The Executive Director of Liberia Peace Building Office expresses serious dismay for the slow pace regarding the fight against corruption in the country. Report from Bong County says the embattled president of the Cotton University has been booted out of his position with immediate effect. President George Weah urges members of the cabinet to be proactive and work in the interest of the Liberian people. And away from Liberia, the Ebola outbreak in the Democratic Republic of Congo has spread from the countryside into a city, prompting fears that the disease will be increasingly hard to control. The news bulletin, voices of those making the news. Your comments are all packaged. We're taking a very short break. To be right back. Thanks for rejoining us. Let's now join TROKON FREEMAN to bring us the news bulletin. Good morning, TROKON.
Augustine, good morning. President George Weah has urged members of the cabinet to be proactive and work in the interests of the Liberian people. He said there is a need to be dedicated in working for the people of Liberia. Moreover, the cabinet is on an obligation to serve in the best interests of the Liberian people and not personal interest. According to him, his administration will not tolerate any delay from any member of the cabinet at the expense of the Liberian people. The Liberian leader made a call Thursday at the start of a two-day cabinet retreat in Grand Bassa County. Meanwhile, President Weah says his administration will strive to beautify the country's highway by removing all makeshift structures along the highway. Report from Bong County says the embattled president of the Cotton University has been booted out of his position with immediate effect following intense pressure by faculty members of the university. According to the report, that the Hemme Brown was removed on Thursday by Episcopal Bishop Jonathan B.P. Hart and has been replaced by Father James Taman as acting president of the Cotton University. It can be recalled that members of the Cotton University Faculty Association staged a three-day protest demanding the resignation of Dr. Brown for what they termed as poor leadership ability, unnecessary bureaucracies, and lack of good working relations, among other issues. The Cotton University Faculty Association also started delaying the payment of their salaries since the ascendancy of Dr. Hemme Brown as president of the university warranted restriction of students and faculty members residing on the campus, a situation that has resulted to some individuals leaving the campus. Upon county reporters said the situation has created setbacks for students attending the institution, especially those defending their theses as classes remained closed. The executive director of the Liberia Peace Building Office has expressed serious dismay over the slow pace regarding the fight against corruption in the country. Edward Mumba said since the establishment of anti-corruption institutions, the fight against corruption has not improved. Speaking in Monrovia at the Roundtable Dialogue, Mumba wants new approaches designed to combat corruption, which, according to him, has damaged the fabrics of the country. Meanwhile, the Liberian Peace Building Office director has called on the Liberian government to be more proactive in achieving national peace and reconciliation among Liberians as mandated by the Just and Peace and Reconciliation Conference in Liberia. Moswater County District Acting Representative Sir Joseph has reneged on a previous decision to sue the authorities of Sam Darby at the ECOWAS court. Representative Joseph's decision to sue the oil palm company comes after a plenary overwhelmingly defeated his motion of reconsideration. The motion of reconsideration was aimed at mandating plenary to instruct authorities of the company to cater for the welfare of the victim John Davis. The lawmaker maintained that suspect Davis was allegedly tortured and treatment provided him at the local health center in Grand County was not sufficient. by the Mosford County lawmaker in a media conference minutes after Thursday sitting, disclosed that the extent of the lawsuit he would inform 10 international human rights organizations about the treatment meted against victim Davis. He added that human rights violations is unlawful. The Liberian National Police has charged and forwarded to court the man whose penis was allegedly cut off early April on Peace Island in Congo Town. According to police investigation, defendant Hassan Kanan allegedly killed his girlfriend Princess Dwalu after an argument ensued between the two at his residence. The police investigative report indicates that during the argument, the victim Dwalu became upset when defendant Kanan disclosed that his wife was returning from a vacation the next day. The report revealed that during the standoff, victim Dwalu allegedly chopped off the defendant's penis while Kanan is said to have stabbed the victim to death in retaliation. Meanwhile, Kanan is being charged in accordance with Chapter 14, Section B, 14.5 of the Revised Penal Law of Liberia. A group honoring the Banner Center for Policy Action and Research, CPA, has criticized the 2018-2019 draft national budget. The group executives told a news conference on Thursday that the 2018-2019 national budget recently submitted to the legislature by the Ministry of Finance is characterized by economic lapses which, according to them, are not in line with international economic data. Ali Yen, who is the spokesman of the group, noted that the draft budget submitted to the national legislature when passed would impose sovereign on the ordinary people, something he said runs contrary to the pro-poor agenda. Yen, who is also former Assistant Minister for Fiscal Affairs at the Ministry of Finance, also attributed the flaw within the draft budget to political influence. In speaking earlier, Jacob Jalad indicated that the expenditure portion of the draft budget lacks programs that tend to improve human capacity. The citizens of Makibi County are worried that the outbreak of Lassa fever could lead to outbreak of vector health services in the county if nothing is done to guarantee the affected presence. Recently, health officials in the county announced a health emergency after two people died of the disease. Following the outbreak, health officials announced that about 87 people who came in direct contact with the victims are being strictly monitored. Speaking with the station in Kakata, some residents, including Madam Musu Masakwe FREEMAN and Emin Hammer, said the situation is currently creating fear among citizens in the county. They want collective efforts towards reviving the health sector, adding that if the sector is not proactive, things could get worse, leading to the death of thousands of people. They know that there is a need for government to shut down the two community clinics where the disease initially went for treatment so as to avoid the future spread of the disease. Meanwhile, Makibi County's Chief Medical Officer Dr. Myers Chie Pachibo has called on citizens not to panic. He said government through the Ministry of Health is exerting all efforts to contain the outbreak. The Deputy Post and Telecommunications Minister for Technical Services, Prosper Brown, has reaffirmed the ministry's commitment to improving the information communication and technology sector in Liberia. Minister Prosper Brown said his institution will work with partners, including stakeholders, to uphold mechanisms for the vibrant communication sector. Giving the keynote message at program marking the celebrations of the World Telecommunications and Information Day Thursday, Minister Brown said the ministry will engender to build the capacity of people as well as develop the relevant framework in driving the telecommunications sector in the country. Also making remarks, the president of the Women Initiative for Information Technology, Angeline Brookswell, emphasized the need for logistical support to be given secondary and tertiary institutions for capacity building processes. And the ECOWAS Commission Office in Liberia has decried the huge number of Liberians currently placed on government's payroll. The special assistant to the ECOWAS Commission in Liberia said the commission recently unearthed over 70,000 Liberian youths on the payroll, something which the ECOWAS Commission termed as unfortunate. Lola Osonola said This action by the Liberian government makes it difficult for it to execute most of its developmental projects in the country. The man said indicated that the situation also leads to government underperformance on its mandate. He indicated that the government, the President George Weah, must exert efforts by creating the enabling environment for Liberian youth to focus on the private sector. Augustine, that's the news bulletin.
And that was the news bulletin with TROKON FREEMAN. TROKON returns at the end of the news with the international developments. Indeed, you're listening to NewsNet, a production of the News and Current Affairs Department here at OK Communications Incorporated. Stories top in the news this morning. The Executive Director of Liberia's Peace Building Office expresses serious dismay of the slow pace regarding the fight against corruption in the country. A report from Bon County says the embattled president of the Cotton University has been booted out of his position with immediate effect. President George Weah urges members of the cabinet to be proactive and work in the interest of the Liberian people. And away from home, the Ebola outbreak in the Democratic Republic of Congo has spread from the countryside into a city, prompting fears that the disease will be increasingly hard to control. We're taking a very short break. This time, when we come back, we'll bring you voices of those making the news. Thanks for rejoining us. President George Weah has urged the members of his cabinet to be proactive and work in the interests of the Liberian people. He said there is a need to be dedicated in working for the people of Liberia. He noted that the cabinet is on an obligation to serve in the best interest of the ordinary people and not personal interest. Meanwhile, President George Weah says his administration will strive to beautify the country's highway by removing all makeshift structures.
That one is attached because I lived in the village before and I don't have anybody really succeeding those homes. So I'm very serious about the house. If I don't achieve anything, I know the rules to get to the house and the house will be removed. That is from special project. Well, we listen to the pastor that preached on the day that we were praying for the country and said, no visibility study and no challenges. But any sleeping, Mr. We don't want to hear challenge, we don't want to hear visibility study.
That was the voice of President George Weah speaking at the opening of his first cabinet retreat in Buchanan, Graham-Bassa County on Thursday. Report from Bon County says the embattled president of the Cotton University has been booted out of his position with immediate effect, following intense pressure by faculty members of the institution. According to the report, Dr. Hammer Brown was removed on Thursday by Episcopal Bishop Jonathan B.B. Hart and has been replaced by Father James Tamba as acting president of the Cotton University. It can be recalled, members of the Cotton University Faculty Association staged a 3-day protest demanding the resignation of Dr. Brown for what they termed as poor leadership ability, unnecessary bureaucracies, and lack of good working relations, among other several issues. Our Bon County reporter Melvin Stewart provided a report on Thursday. Melvin Stewart also said the Cotton University Faculty Association also cited the delay in payment of their salaries since the ascendancy of Dr. Hammond Brown as president of the university.
This action has actually come to a fruition on the side of the faculty members and that of the student body. In the wake of these 2 days, the past 2 days strike action where the students and that of the administrative staff have called on the president, Dr. Freeman Brown, to resign his post because of the lack of administrative practices. His lack of administrative practices coupled with a lot of other things
especially with the issue with the service delivery here on Cotton campus, where students pay for their services, and these services are not being rendered to them, including staff of the Faculty Members Association, people who teach at Cotton who have offices here, who have been given apartments. Their services are not being rendered through his regime, and they came up with this argument, with this petition to have it replaced, to have it resign his post so that another person can take over this post. So he has actually come to a fruition today. Dr. Hegman Brown was being asked to leave Cotton University immediately. In few days, pack his belongings and leave for his wherever he thinks about going. Through the bishop of the Episcopal Church of Liberia, Dr. Jonathan B. Hart, who was accompanied by a lot of bishops across Liberia and a lot of dignitaries, government officials, and people in arm as well. So Dr. Hegman Brown has finally been replaced by one of the professors here at Cotton University, Father James Tamba, who comes from the College of Theology. It was a regrettable situation, especially on the part of those who've been supporting his bureaucratic style of administrative practice. It was sad on their part, unlike those that wanted him to be removed.
Melvin Stewart is OKFM's Bone County correspondent, bringing us up to speed with the latest development about the embattled president, Dr. Ahmad Brown, being replaced by Father James Tamba there at the Cotton University in Swakoko, Bone County. The executive director of Liberia Peace Building Office has expressed a serious dismay over the slow pace regarding the fight against corruption in the country. Edward Mulba said, since the establishment of anti-corruption institutions, the fight against corruption has not improved. Speaking in Monrovia at a round-table dialogue, Mulba wants new approaches designed to combat corruption, which according to him has damaged the fabric of the country.
The issue of corruption, one thing I can say clearly here, like you said, there have been genuine steps. Though we need more, we need to do more. Corruption in our context is very systemic. There are years in and years out. But the steps that we have taken as a people, as a government, first and foremost, was to have had the Liberia Anti-Corruption Commission. That was never there. We have the anti-graft institutions established and functioning. Maybe we need to reflect and see why they're not working. Why are we still having corruption?
Meanwhile, the Liberia Peace Building Office Executive Director has called on the Liberian government to be more proactive in achieving national peace and reconciliation among Liberians as mandated by the just ended Peace and Reconciliation Conference in Liberia.
And Our Excellency, who takes responsibility from us? We have a roadmap that clearly articulates how we should take, and if you read that roadmap for me, in my own mind, is the single most resource document that can bring about lasting peace. Because we talk about gender issues, we talk about constitutional issues, we talk about youth issues, we talk about addressing the wrongs of the past. They are reflected, they talk about economic empowerment, they are reflected in the roadmap. Alright? So as a framework, it indicates clearly who should take responsibility. We have a structure that says that the President and President of Liberia must take the lead when it comes to reconciliation. It should be followed by the establishment of the independent national commission. So reconciliation should have a.
Edward Mulbard is the executive director of Liberia Peace Building Office. Montserrat County District Acting Representative Sad Joseph has reneged on its previous decision to sue authorities of Semen Dabi at the Akwas Court. Representative Joseph's decision to sue the oil palm company comes after plenary overwhelmingly defeated his motion of reconsideration. The motion of reconsideration was aimed at mandating plenary to instruct authorities of the company to cater for the welfare of victim John Davis. The lawmaker maintained that suspect Davy was allegedly tortured and the treatment provided him at a local health center in Grand Kitman County was not sufficient.
My motion of reconsideration was denied by one of my colleagues that made a motion stating that the Honorable House should deny the motion of reconsideration. But that is the beginning of the case. That is the beginning of the hearing of this matter in Liberia, and I can assure you that the crime committed by the St. David Plantation, the company from Malaysia, who have committed a crime against humanity, against the people of Liberia, to be specific, against John Davis. I have in my possession the video of the atrocity committed by the St. David. I also have video of John Davis being talked to after the incident occurred. Up to present, according to the video and my contact with the family, John Davis having been given an express medical care. Looking at and comparing the torture given to John Davis cannot be compared to the treatment that he received. John Davis was treated in the local clinic in Grand Kitman County. If you will look at the torture being given to John Davis, I mean, he's needed to be given an express medical care. Not just that, my motion of reconsideration also appealed to the august body that John Davis should be given an insurance. And not just that, he should be compensated. There's the overall view internationally. When such situations are committed and the body, the good thing is that St. David came and apologized.
In fact, how do you view the decision of your colleagues, and when do we expect you taking this matter up with the ECOWAS court?
I'm going in order. I'm going to be communicating with the Human Rights Commission. That's the first thing I'm going to be doing. The next thing is that I'm going to be taking the video worldwide. I'm going to give this video to other international bodies so they can look at it. We're looking at the Human Rights Commission of the United Nations. We quoted that. I'm going to be talking to them as well so that they can get involved into this matter.
And that was the voice of Manzurado County District Acting Representative Sir Joseph. Ruben on the Bande Center for Policy Action and Research has criticized the 2018-2019 draft national budget. The group executives told a news conference Thursday that the 2018-2019 national budget recently submitted to the national legislature by the Ministry of Finance is characterized by economic lapses which, according to them, are not in line with international economic data. Alan Yan, who is the spokesman of the group, noted that the draft budget submitted to the national legislature, when passed, would impose suffering on the ordinary people, something he said runs contrary to the proposed agenda.
Be pushed further up to close to 90% by the close of this fiscal year. Then we look at other spending. We also have renovation of the executive mansion. It stands at a huge 13 million, while support to the office of the First Lady for humanitarian work is 1 million. The sum of both is an alarming 14 million. This is significantly higher than the investment in actual pro sectors with job creation potential. You can remember we talked about the tourism sector, only 8,800 US dollars going there, but we have 14 million here going for renovation of the executive mansion and the office of the First Lady. A deeply questionable allocation was discovered under the expenditure for Special Operations Services. Special Operations Services under the Office of the President, covering a combined period of 5 years, beginning FY 12-13 to 16-17, was only 1.4 million. So you're talking about 1.4 million in total Special Operations Services for the Office of the President for a 5-year period. This means average spending per year on Special Operations Services was under 291,000.
Alan Yan is the spokesperson of the group on the banner Center for Policy Action and Research. They are criticizing the 2018-2019 draft national budget. Speaking earlier, Jacob Jalan indicated that the expenditure portion of the draft budget lacks programs that tend to improve human capacity.
Forecast budget, the Minister of Finance announced that. So even the forecast for this budget year that was projected last year, you'll be fundamentally unable to meet that forecast. Least to mention, your ambitious $510.8 million forecast in domestic revenue. So if you could not meet the revenue forecast last year, clearly, by affecting the revenue number, you'll be unable to meet the target this year based on macroeconomic analysis on the performance of domestic revenue locally. So, it is, I would say, a wild goose chase, and, I would add that it's, more of a funny money promise. Unless the other minister is some kind of money to the Ministry of Finance, they're clearly unable to meet this revenue target because they are firmly, fundamentally unrealistic.
That was the voice of Jacob Jala. You earlier heard the voice of Ali Yan, who is the spokesman of the group under the banner Center for Policy Action and Research. To this next development, citizens of Maigibi County are worried that the outbreak of Lassa fever could lead to a breakdown of vital health services in the county if nothing is done to quarantine affected persons. Recently, health authorities in the county announced a health emergency after 2 people died of the disease. Following the outbreak, health officials announced that about 87 people who came in contact with the victims have been strictly monitored. Speaking with this station in Kakata, some residents, including Madam Musu Masakwe Freeman and Emmett Hammond, said the situation is currently creating fear among citizens in the county. They want collective efforts towards reviving the health sector, adding that if the sector is not prioritized, things could get worse, leading to the death of thousands of people.
I'm not seeing it. So it's actually worry, so I'm afraid. Seriously, I'm afraid. So thank God you guys are wanting to watch door for Liberia in the world of Allah. It is important that the 1 year what is unfolding. We don't know tomorrow when the outbreak. And when it comes to research time, most of the outbreak can take place. And now when they're really seeing it. Who knows who is who? So I'm afraid to be friend. Now Israel, you say my friend or think I say, oh, another friend when I interview I got a friend, you tell God say, you have my $7,000 or whatever, I had to wear my hand and interact with you. Because I'm afraid you know who I am. But thank God it is important that you guys will come across it and see and ask the medical doctor which of the community have been quarantined. Nothing. What are the people there? We can't see them. So it's actually worrisome. As for me, I say I don't fear, seriously.
So finally to stay safe.
Well, as for me, I always tell you that I want to do a victim during the Ebola crisis. So as for me, I always take that precaution. And I can't overlook any sickness. And my children, even enter my house, I get my pocket there, you got to wash your hand. Even if you go to my house, even go to my living room, I don't take off my feet wet and do all and wash my hand in the house somebody. So I'm asking everyone to ask.
Yes, I'm greatly concerned because we have the situation with the Ebola here in 2014. And it was a serious situation. It was not easy. People lost their life. So with this kind of a news, I'm really, really worried. And we pray that this will pass over this. And it shouldn't even get worse like the Ebola, because the Ebola we had a bad experience. And we don't want it to get to that stage where people will lose their life, because at that time, in the daytime, they will have to bury 10, 15 persons, and it was so bad for us. And so we just pray that they shouldn't get out of hand. We pray that the health sector will be able to really challenge this situation and do something good so that our people will not lose their life because of this Lassa fever.
Musu Masakwe Freeman and Emmett Hammond are among many residents of Kakata City, the Maigibi County, expressing worries about the outbreak of Lassa fever in the county. Meanwhile, Maigibi County's Chief Medical Officer Dr. Myers G. Pajibo has called on citizens not to panic. He said the government, through the Ministry of Health, is exerting all efforts to contain the outbreak.
There are so many challenges ahead, so we appeal to them to see reason to delay and meet the government and try to negotiate and see an amicable solution to this problem. We want to call on the people of Maigibi to go about following what the instruction that we gave them, try to cover the food. When someone is sick, try to get them to the nearest health facility in order to treat them. If they are not getting better after 1 day or 2 day of treatment, you can come over to CS Rennie. In Liberia, we have the test for Lassa fever. That is great. So within 24 hours, we got test results back. We also have a drug here that can help you to get better if you have Lassa fever. That drug is here on CS Rennie compound. So no need to panic. We don't want to create a scare in the public and then think that all is lost. We want them to know that the disease, we can beat it together, so we just need to work closely together.
Dr. Myers Pajibo is the Chief Medical Officer there in Maigibi County. Deputy Post and Telecommunication Minister for Technical Services, Prosper Brown, has reaffirmed the ministry's commitment to improving the information communication and technology sector in Liberia. Deputy Minister Prosper Brown said his institution will work with partners, including stakeholders, to up mechanism for a vibrant telecommunication sector. Giving the keynote message at programs marking the celebration of World Telecommunication Information Day Thursday, Deputy Minister Brown said the ministry will engender to build the capacity of people as well as developed the relevant framework in driving the telecommunication sector of Liberia.
Cognizant of the importance of telecommunication and information communication and technology globally in the lives of mankind, and given that it is becoming an issue of human rights, as head of the telecommunication sector, we remain unwavering in our drive to ensure that telecommunication and information communication and technology play a cardinal role in our nation's development. Along with our partners and other major stakeholders in the sector, we are putting into play mechanisms that are essential to the improvement of the telecommunication and information communication and technology sector. For example, the crafting of phase 2 of our information communication and technology policy, which is key to providing the trajectory that this government tread on in improving the sector. Consequently, celebrating World Telecommunication and Information Society Day under the theme enabling the positive use of artificial intelligence for all, we shall endeavor to build the capacity of people and develop the necessary framework across every sphere within our nation for the advancement of information communication and technology.
The voice of Deputy Post and Telecommunication Minister for Technical Services, Prosper Brown. Also making remarks, the president of the Women Initiative for Information Technology, Angeline Briswell, emphasized the need for logistical support to be given secondary and tertiary institutions for capacity building purposes.
Have we come to realize that the internet and computer is not limited to those who are in the field of ICT? Therefore, I'm here to use this platform to advocate for just 2 things, since this government is a pro-poor government. I'm currently asking Mr. President George Owiya, the Minister of Education, the Minister of Post and Telecommunication, to work as a team to create a standard and give facility to make sure every high school graduate must know the basics of computer. This can help them in the future. The world is evolving every 2.5 seconds. ICT is the leading skills that we all should know that will help us improve the future of Liberian. Computer should be taught as the same as every subject in grade school. I say this today, this is very important for our society because it is changing the mindset and skill set of young people.
Angeline Briswell is the president of the Women Initiative for Information Technology. Earlier, you heard the voice of Deputy Post and Telecommunication Minister for Technical Services, Prosper Brown. They spoke at the celebration of World Telecommunication Information Day on Thursday here in the Republic of Liberia. Our final local development, just before we bring you the final batch of comments, the ECOWAS Commission Office in Liberia has decried the huge number of Liberians currently placed on government's payroll. The special assistant to the ECOWAS Commission to Liberia said the commission recently unearthed over 70,000 Liberian youth on payroll, something which the ECOWAS Commission termed as unfortunate. Lola Osunalu said this action by the Liberian government makes it difficult for it to execute most of its developmental projects in the country.
Everybody relying on the government, there is nowhere the government will be able to satisfy everybody. We had a meeting recently where I think on Friday last week, we were told 70,000 Liberians are on the payroll of the Liberian government. Everybody shouting, 70,000. How will such a government be able to perform when you have to pay for services, salaries, remunerations on monthly basis for 70,000 people? So we want to encourage Liberians, especially the youth, not to see the government as the only source of making it in life. And we are also working in partnership through the Liberian Chamber of Commerce so as to empower them, liaise and coordinate relationship with the private sector so that something they will be able to employ more people. And ECOWAS also has in place what we call ETC, ECOWAS Trade Liberalization Scheme, ETLS, ECOWAS Trade Liberalization Scheme. The purpose of the ECOWAS Trade Liberalization Scheme is to encourage manufacturing. The moment you are able to produce a product up to 65% local content, you are free to export that content to any of our 15 member countries. Now, some people misconstrue it. They imported rice from the US, repackaged it, and said, you know what, we can export to 15.
Lola Osunlalu is the Special Assistant to the ECOWAS Commission to Liberia. We will join TROKON Freeman to bring us the international developments here on NewsNet.
The Ebola outbreak in DR Congo has spread from the countryside into a city, prompting fears that the disease will be increasingly hard to control. Health Minister Ole Lunga Kalenga confirmed the case in Bandinga, a city of 130 kilometers, 80 miles from where the first cases were confirmed. The city is a major transportation hub with routes to the capital Kinshasa. At least 44 people are thought to have been infected with Ebola, and the 3 deaths are being investigated. And police say the girl died soon after. A 2-year-old girl was found with fatal injuries after a van carrying 30 cottage migrants was chased by police for an hour in Softin, Belgium. Police say the girl died soon after and have revealed that there was a scuffle and shots were fired. The chase began on the EU42 motorway outside the town of Nama. The van drove west for several kilometers, evading police. Eventually, it collided with another vehicle near Mons, and the girl was found. That's foreign news, Augustine.
With those foreign developments, that's how we take leave of you on this edition of NewsNet on OKFM 99.5. Just before leaving you, a reminder of our top stories. The Executive Director of Liberia Peace Building Office expresses a serious dismay over the slow pace regarding the fight against corruption in the country. Report from Bon County says the embattled president of the Cotton University has been booted out of his position with immediate effect. President George Weah urges members of the cabinet to be proactive and work in the interest of the ordinary people. And away from home, the Ebola outbreak in the Democratic Republic of Congo has spread from the countryside into a city, prompting fears that the disease will be increasingly hard to control. Thanks to TROKON Augustus Freeman, who was here with the news bulletin and later brought you the international developments. Eddie Fuapun ably handled the order of the sounds. The voice of Open Plebo, Maryland County, relayed this edition. For more news, you can log on to www.okfmlr.com/Facebook, OKFM Liberia. Better still, 99.5 MHz, or you download our application on Google Play Store and keep listening. My name is Augustine Bill Kollie. Thanks for listening and watching.